thanks for joining me. Now, in an earlier video I mentioned that there were a couple more bikes in my life, and I think now's as good a time as any to make the introductions. Although they're both the same make and model, with just a year separating them age-wise, they're both quite different. During World War II, Harley Davidson were asked to produce a motorcycle for the US Army, so they adapted the WL model they already had and produced the WLA. A stands for Army. The bike on the right, that's Libby. Now she's a standard WLA, as it would have been supplied to the Army in 1943. We'll meet her in a later video. The one on the left, this is Dave, and he's coming out to play today. They've been tucked up in the garage over winter, and once the weather started warming up, I decided it was time to get them out of hibernation. I actually took this footage back in February, but decided to save it for a rainy day. Today, I'm at a loose end and I don't have any other video in hand, so I thought I might as well crack on with it. Okay, tyres pumped up, oil checked, fresh petrol in the tank, and it's been started up and warmed up. All good to go. Right, well, Dave's a 1942 Harley Davidson WLA, but he would have looked something like Libby here when he came out of the factory. When the war ended, large quantities of Army surplus WLAs were sold off. Now the first thing many owners did was strip off all the heavy hardware. Basically, they were civilianised. In his 80-odd year life, Dave's probably been through several changes before ending up like this. Here's a few facts and figures. The engine's a 750cc side valve V-twin. That's 45 cubic inch. In Harley speak terms, these are commonly known as flatheads. Not particularly powerful at 25 horsepower, but loads of low down torque. Compression ratios are mere 5:1, so real easy to kick over, even for a knackered old bugger like me. Transmissions through a 3-speed gearbox with a hand gear change mounted on the left-hand petrol tank. This is the clutch pedal. Yep, it's foot operated, which on American bikes of this era was the normal way of doing things. It's a rocker type, so your heel sits on the rear pad and your sole on the front, and you rock your foot to operate it. It also stays wherever you leave it, which can be handy. Now the American motorcyclists at the time were used to this setup, so it wasn't a problem. The thing is, the other allies during the war needed machines, and the US supplied them to several countries. Canada, Britain, even Russia use them, and a lot couldn't get on with the foot clutch. To overcome this, a second version of the bike was produced, the WLC. The C stands for Canada, as I think it was at their request that the mods were made. The WLC has a number of differences to the WLA, but one of the main ones, as far as we're concerned, was the fitting of a clutch assister. In essence, this was simply a hand-operated clutch lever fitted to the left-hand handlebar. Now, this couldn't replace the foot clutch because the hand gear change is also on the left, but it offered a hand control that did help out in certain circumstances. I fitted one on this when I first got it, as it can assist in modern urban traffic, but to be honest, it's very rarely used. Brakes are drum front and rear with just single leading shoes, so you need to plan ahead when stopping. Normally on these bikes, the brake lever would be on the left, totally not what we're used to. When the clutch assist is fitted, it has to be moved over to the right, but that actually makes it more intuitive, as that's where we all expect it to be. Okay, we're just going to go for a short run now. 3 or 4 priming kicks, then ignition on, and hopefully, yep, there we go. Clutch disengaged. Select first gear. And away we go.
It's a narrow one-way bridge, this, over the canal and over the river, and we're clear.
Just selected third gear there.
So we're just going to do a quick burn up to Fish Lake, just to blow the cobwebs off, turn round and come back.
So what's it like to ride then? Comfortable firstly, not particularly fast, but quite happy to cruise, 50-60 mile an hour. Brakes, not very good by modern standards, so you really need to be thinking ahead all the time. Dave's had one or two upgrades, and now he's got a tooth belt drive primary instead of a chain. That makes him a bit smoother. He's also got automatic advance and retard for the ignition instead of the manual twist grip on the left hand handlebar.
We're just coming into Fish Lake now. This is the village that was flooded a few years back when the Don very kindly overflowed its banks after quite a lot of heavy rain for several days.
As I said, very tractable engine, and we're still in top gear here at about 25 mile an hour. Now we've just gone down a second for the sharp bends.
We're going to chain round here.
Quite heavy machines, around 250 kilo mark, but the low centre of gravity makes slow speed manoeuvre in a doddle.
So the roads are absolutely bloody terrible, and on a rigid frame bike with short movement on the front forks, it can get a bit bouncy. I have to say though, these are quite comfortable bikes. The big sprung seat is a bit like sitting in an armchair, so although the bike itself can bounce about on the back end, you don't feel it a great deal because you're absorbing the shock, or rather the seat springs are absorbing the shock for you. Yep, until you hit a pothole like that. Down to second, down to first in case we've got to stop, and we're okay. There's a passing place halfway across, and we're clear again.
Right, I'm going to wrap it up there. Just wanted a quick run really to check everything was okay. I'll leave you with a couple of pictures of the old boy. Now I will be using Goldie for a lot of my adventures, but Dave will feature in one or two during the summer. I'll also do a more in-depth introduction to Libby in a later video. Well, this one's been a bit different to my previous videos, but I hope you've still found it interesting. If you have, please give it a like, leave a comment, subscribe if you want to follow my travels, and hit the notifications bell. Cheers for now.